Today we're going to be taking a look at my Nissan Hardbody camper, Overland rig, whatever you want to call it. But this is a budget build that I think is fairly attainable for a lot of people. You could probably build this for around 10 to 15 depending on what you wanted to do. I bought this truck for $3,500 7 years ago, and it's been my daily do everything rig ever since. And right now it's set up to where I can go to bike races, go wherever I want, and pretty much be self-sufficient off the grid for about a week or more, depending on the situation. I'm gonna take you through this build out. It's definitely not a polished, dialed setup, but it's what I've come up with my basic set of skills to outfit this truck for my needs. So let's get into it. So we'll start from the back and move our way up front. We're starting with the 1-up 2-bike tray mount bike rack connected to the rack attach swing away. That'll come into play later, but it does stick out fairly far, but it's the perfect clearance to have this swing and miss the handlebar, and then without any adjustments I can have the tailgate down. But the whole reason I did this swing away is to make room for our drawer system, which I'll show you next. But the swing away is pretty straightforward. There's a pin that you remove here, and then for how heavy this is, it's a pretty light action to get the bike fully out of the way. Nice clearance. Put the pin in with a little adjustment, and then boom, and we've got our drawer, which is probably the main attraction back here, and then oop, bonus drawer. So I'm no carpenter. Me and my girlfriend built this out together, and this is what we came up with. Nice little hideaway countertop right there, and that's the game changer for this entire setup. Being able to cook with a lot of room. You know, you got a lot of counter space right here. This is a really nice setup to cook with on the road, and it just makes everything you need fairly accessible. We're able to store food, spices, and pots and pans, and just make the cooking experience pretty manageable. So the build out for the bed itself took about a week. Both me and my girlfriend had to move in here on short notice because our living situation changed in a hurry, and we actually spent 2 months living out of here. So this setup's tried and true, and I'll just kind of break down what we did and why we did it. So first off, we definitely wanted to have this ledge just for the extra storage. These little cubbies had some good storage. It's not full of much right now, but there's solid storage in there. This little cubby holds a lot of stuff, our water, and then down here there is another compartment that's covered mostly by the bed, and that's a good place for kind of just random clothes and other things that can be accessible from the bed. And then this is where our clothes live. These drawers slide out pretty nicely, and they're also accessible. You know, this panel comes up, it's cut in half, so you can remove the other half as well. If I was running this by myself or one person, we had the option to kind of take this side out so a bike could slide in here or more gear, and save this side of the bed for sleeping. But yeah, this was a bit of a mission. We pretty much have no carpentry skills between the two of us, and yeah, getting this all together was a major project. Another cubby back here, and then in the back corner here there's some more storage that's a little tougher to access, but there's cubbies back here too. The wood caps didn't really line up as good on those, but they're under the bed, so it doesn't really matter. We've got a nice mattress topper. I believe it's like a 4-inch. The two of us are able to fit in here pretty comfortably, and there's enough storage for our day-to-day things. All right, so that wraps it up for kind of the build out in the bed, and we can kind of move up towards the cab and start talking about the electrical system. And here's the solar power setup. So this is a 100-watt panel. I believe that's a 50 or 40-watt panel up front, and this is nice because it's usually fully out in the sun. Sometimes you have to be a little mindful of where the sun's angling so it's not getting shaded by the roof box. I've been able to pretty reliably recharge the Jackery, which is kind of the heart of this whole system. I've got a Jackery 1000 set up in the back here, and if it's sunny, I am recharging close to 100% every day. And keeping this 12-volt fridge running, that thing sips power when it isn't baking hot out, and I have enough power to charge all my devices and yeah, keep this thing running. I've got a light set up back here to illuminate my surroundings. You can see, that swings up to illuminate the kitchen as well, or face in to give some light to the bed setup. But I've got everything running through this back window, which is probably the biggest point of improvement that needs to happen. I was just tying this off and the string broke and it held, so it's holding all that together. So I'm not getting a bunch of wind noise through the back window on the highway. But yeah, this is the input from the solar panels. That goes to the 12-volt fridge. This is the lights, and then this is just an extension cord. So we have USBs and outlets to plug in from our bed. So that's the setup back here. This fridge is actually fairly roomy. I'm able to fit enough stuff in here to support 2 people for, about a week. Yeah, the food seems to be the biggest limit to how far I can take this thing. Yeah, the front of the truck is just what you would expect from a 94 Nissan Hardbody. It's manual, 4-wheel drive, all works great. Had a bit of maintenance done lately to keep it feeling fresh. This is probably the biggest upgrade I've done to the truck. The modded hatch, the handle broke on here, so went to Home Depot, bolted this up. It's very satisfying actually. So that's probably the biggest upgrade I've done. But yeah, this thing's luxury for a 94. You've got electric windows, power locks, cruise control that doesn't work, and just a really good running truck. This thing has really never let me down. 155,000 miles on the clock and still going strong. I think that number's a little low, honestly. When I got the truck, the odometer was rolling slow. So regardless of what the real number is, this thing is running good. And how about those graphics? Thing looks fast, standing still. I was pretty stoked to get the color match, gray shell, gray graphics. Was nervous of running some ugly, hideous camper shell, but that thing popped up for like $400, which is absolute steal with the roof racks, which was really important. But that's about it. Able to get 2 bikes on here, all my gear for 2 people, and really run this thing pretty strong for a week on end without having to really refuel or restock. And yeah, this thing takes care of me. I think the last thing on the to-do list is to get some stiffer leaf springs. As you'll see here, these things are pretty flexed out with all this weight in the back. It's just definitely weighing on this thing, especially with this thing out kind of levering the back end of the truck. I've got some stiffer leaf springs to install, and those will be like 350 kilogram, like 700 pound constant load leafs. So I'll make another video when those get installed. Well, I think that's about it for the truck. I absolutely love this thing. It's never really let me down or let me stranded, and yeah, there's a lot more stuff I want to do with it. Some big trips this summer, and it's fully equipped to do it. Like, you see all these crazy rooftop tents and just insane setups, out there, and that seems like really far-fetched, but this is something you can get, an extra cab old truck from the 90s, slap a few nice parts on it, the Jackery, some solar, and some elbow grease, getting a build out setup. But with no carpentry experience, it takes some time and you're going to make some mistakes, but it's all attainable. And while this thing isn't super clean around the edges, it checks all the boxes, and I'm able to go take it on trips, go to bike races, and enabled me to live the lifestyle I want pretty comfortably, honestly. I don't see what more I really want to do to this truck besides kind of fix the leaf spring issue in the rear and just take it to some sweet places. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll link everything I used on this truck in the description. I'll probably make a video installing those leaf springs, see how it goes. But with that being said, subscribe if you like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.